Hey guys, it's me, Rizwan Khan, also known as DJ RIZZY, and today I want to welcome you guys back to another one of my super hot fire podcasts. So, in today's segment, I have here with me Akshay Garg,
Hello.
and today we're going to be talking about the three main concepts or themes that we learn while reading The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. So, Akshay, I think you should go first. So, share your thoughts.
So the three topics we're going to cover are identity, family, and racism. Let's start off with identity. Well, let's start with a general idea. What is identity and what we learned about identity from the book? In my opinion, I think identity means the way you define yourself and not how you're defined by others based on what you wear, how you look, or like your status and the way you act. Rizwan, what's your opinion on what is identity?
I think for the most part, I'd agree that your identity is like how you define yourself. But I think a lot of things that happen in today's day and age or have been happening is like a lot of people take what other people think about them and they let that overpower what they think about themselves. And they start to believe that that is their identity. And I think like that's not right because I think honestly if you're truly happy with yourself, like someone else like Bob over there could think like, I'm not a nice guy, but if I know I'm a nice guy, then I think I can be a nice guy.
Yeah, I agree with yourself. That leads to another question. What we learned by identity, like in today and in the book, as we saw, identity can be easily influenced by things like stereotypes. For example, in the book, Devante talked about are how shoes define black and white people.
That's so true.
Um, yeah. So,
I,
what do you think?
I think like yeah, like for example, like see these are just like biases and like thoughts like from what I've seen from social media and like it's a stereotype. But when I think of white person shoes, for example, I think oh like Vans, Converse, this that. When I think of black person, I think like expensive Nike shoes, Jordan, stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like stereotypes easily affect your identity and how you define yourself. Like we have all heard about the famous stereotypes girls are bad at math. Even though that's not true, but like they probably hear it so much that they start to think it's true. They start to think they're like they're not good at math, they're dumb.
Yeah,
This can have a negative impact on their identity.
it's like a mental blockage because there's nothing actually stopping you from like it's these thoughts that like stop us from doing the best we can because of media and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah. And then, so like, let's talk about some factors that influence Star's identity and how she identifies herself.
Yeah,
Um, how do you how do you define Star when we first started reading the book?
I think like when Star at the start of the book, she seemed like a really like chill person. Like when you think about the scene at the party, she didn't really want to be there. She didn't really like the party. She wanted to leave, and like she didn't seem like she seemed like a really nice person. Okay, is what I'm trying to say, and like a down to earth person.
Yeah, and like by the end of the book, elite this answers part of the question of how trauma shapes identity. So like we know we saw like the night we read about the night Khalil died,
Yeah,
how the police officer got him, and like Star was there, and she has a difficult time handling it. It's like she's questioning herself, right? She thinks she could have done something about it. In reality, no, she could have.
yeah.
Uh,
Honestly, I feel like yeah, trauma really shapes the way people like trauma at least scars like you don't forget about these type of things like when Khalil died it was so sudden and like especially death like you can't exactly stop it. So like I just feel that it affected the way Star see things like how um They also talk about how when Star was younger, she had a third best friend. It was her, Khalil, and one other
Yeah.
girl. I forgot her name.
Natasha.
Yeah, Natasha.
No.
So I feel like Star's been through a lot. So all these things contribute back to Star's identity and how she identifies herself.
Yeah, considering she saw both of her best friends get shot.
Like that would really ruin a person, you know? And Star seems like a really strong person, especially because, you know, she's standing up for Khalil and like after all she's been through, she seems like a really strong
Exactly.
person.
Exactly. Like in the book, in the school, when Haley questioned Star about why she was lying to them, and she started talking smack about Will, um, Star got angry and felt the need to like defend Khalil and and like so she got into a fight with Haley. She punched her, and at that moment she accepted her identity for who she is. She didn't care, you know.
Yeah.
So there was another moment in the book when Star questions herself, like when she is going to the court. She says, "If bravery is a medical condition, everyone misdiagnosed, right? Everyone
Oh
thinks
yeah,
brave."
yeah. On that note, I want to talk about some stereotypes we see like in the real world that are really common. Like for example, there's white man can't jump, or like Akshay said earlier, girls are bad at math. These are just stereotypes that affect a person negatively, right? And it impacts their way of thinking and who they think they are. Because in reality, girls aren't bad at math, and it's not that white people can't jump either. There's lots of white people in the NBA, and like in my math class, for example, girls are usually the smarter ones too. So I think these are just like stereotype threats that negatively impact our society and people's identities.
Should we talk? Let's talk about our second. Let's cover our second family.
Yeah, I think we
So
should move on to our second theme, which is family.
fam-
So, like before, Akshay, why don't you start us off?
let's discuss what family means and how we can identify family. So to be honest, I thought family is like you don't have to be related by blood. A family should be like someone or like a group of people that like trust and care for you, and same you do the same for them. It's just like it feels like a natural bond, and you have to be willing to do anything for them.
Yeah.
Like in the Wanted starts to actually consider um Star and her family, right? Because Star's family has done so much for him that he has a sense of belonging. So Rizwan, what do you think? What family?
I agree with you. I feel like you don't have to be related by blood to be family, you know? Like, if you're enough emotionally connected to someone, or like if you're close enough with someone, spend enough time with them, all these type of things. I think, and if you trust them, because you should trust your family. If you get this close with the person, I think it's good to consider them your family, and I think that's all right. Like, just take the example of like someone who's been adopted, right? Like,
Yeah.
you might not be living with your biological mother, but your mom, the one that adopted you, is still your mom, because she loves you just as much as your biological mother would. And just the not having her blood doesn't make you not family, because family is more than that.
Yes, I agree with you. Like in Star's family is Maverick, which is her dad, Lisa, her mom, Seven, Sakani, which are her brothers, Chris, her boyfriend, white boyfriend, you know.
Mm.
All of them, one common factor is all of them are willing to speak up and do anything for each other. They all play an important role in Star's life. Like, Star's parents have taught Star to be herself and never given to anyone. Like, in the book, it said like how they've been reciting Malcolm X quotes for since they were like really young.
Yeah.
Um, her parents basically brought her up with good upbringing, and like this allows Star to speak in court because she knows her family got her back. Like Seven, her older brother, like when Star got into a fight with Haley and Remy, Haley's older brother was about to attack her. Seven protected her because he's very protective, and even threw a few punches. So like I think it just means family is above everything else. This includes your friends, right? It also means you should never turn your back on your own family who are
Yeah.
willing to do anything for you.
Yeah, I think no matter how much you mess up or anything like that, no matter if you go down the wrong path, in the end, your family will always be there for you, right? Just like, for example, the same way you're talking about how your family always has your back. Like, this might be a little stupid and stuff. Like, growing up, my brothers told me like, hey, yo, if you ever get into any fights or ever like, need someone to stand up for you, like, let me know. So, yeah, I think that family is really important, and you just gotta know that no matter what, they'll always be there for you.
Yeah, that's why they say like blood is thicker than water.
Mhm.
What I just said earlier. I think that's how it relates to the quote.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
we talk about family.
No, I think for family, that's it. I think we should move on to racism and racism slash police brutality, how they connect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go for it.
What factors influence us humans to be so stereotypical and race, like in a certain way, racist? A bias towards others. So, Rizwan, you want to start off?
Yeah, I think like humans aren't programmed to be racist. It's just our society, what we grew up in, what we're taught as little kids, passed on from like the previous generations, that make us have these thoughts, right? So like, for example, back in the day, like everyone lived together, and in the end everyone knew that they were all human. They didn't ask, oh, why is this person different skin from me, or skin color, or stuff like that. I think it's just what society teaches us nowadays that makes these differences, but we're all human.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like we as people hear about this so much that it gets stuck in our brains and we start to think it's right. Like for example, that 115 officer shooting Khalil, who shot Khalil because he's a racist, or people think he's a racist. Probably is. It probably happened because his parents taught him to believe that black people are bad. I like this relates to police brutality. I don't believe that police can be that brutal to someone without a reason. Like when they see someone of a certain color, all these types pop up in their head, that they grew up with, like both implicitly and explicitly. They automatically assume like they're bad, they're dangerous. Like in the book when the police officer shot Quill because he thought he was a drug dealer, and there was literally no sign of him being a
Yeah,
drug dealer.
he was just reaching
Just
for his comb.
exactly, he thought it was a gun. It's just because like Khalil was black, because
Yeah,
like he
it's that
assumed.
bias that's in his head.
Like
Mm.
we have already seen one of Star's close friend Haley. She thinks it's a joke, but like she's a racist. Like
Yeah,
yeah, we found out how she was making fun of Maya's culture, like in grade 9 year. She also made a fried chicken joke about Star, which is really disrespectful.
yeah, that was
Um,
really, really disrespectful.
yeah, so like,
See, but then
I,
the thing also comes like, the question is like, can you really blame people like Haley? Because like we were just saying, she grew up learning these things. She lives in probably a neighborhood that is mostly white people, and so if there's like a couple odd people out, she's automatically gonna think like that, and then she's gonna be racist. So
yes, I agree. Like Maverick, like I might be going off topic a little. Maverick and Lisa, Star's parents, like in the book, they gave Star to talk about how to behave in front of the police. I feel like racism is involved in that because they know the way they talk about it is like they experienced it before. Maverick went to jail, right? Like they know how the police behaves. So that's also why they're giving the top. Sadly, it shouldn't really be happening, but like true, it happens today too. Our world.
yeah, I think same thing. Like, I don't know if you've heard about that report or not, but apparently in Toronto, for example, the police, black people are 20 times more likely to get shot by the police or something. So that relates back. It's like, it's just these things people have been taught up since they were younger that like influence them to have these implicit biases about these other people and have these bad thoughts. In reality, like, everyone should be equal because we're all human, and you can't um put someone under a bracket of specific people. Like, you can't put someone into a group of certain people just based off of the group. So for example, let me give an example. Like, people call Muslims terrorists, for example, right? They think of some of the quote unquote Muslim people as terrorists. So if they see a Muslim person, like, oh, you're a terrorist. But that's because of the media, all these other factors. So you just jumble them all up into one group. The same way they think, oh, black person wearing baggy clothes, Jordans. Okay, you're a gangster. I don't want to go near you, right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with you. Like, if Star didn't follow her parents' teaching, she would have died. Like, this is true because in the story we saw Star and Khalil doing the opposite. Star followed what her parents told her, and Khalil did not. And Khalil ended up dying.
Yeah, I think that also relates back to your family as well, cause like your
Yeah,
family.
because I was gonna say Star's like lucky enough to have a family, because Khalil doesn't have a family. The only reason he
Mm,
was like selling drugs in the first place is because his mother borrowed something from the king,
yeah,
and um Khalil needed to repay him, or like his mother would have been harmed. Even though like Khalil's mother doesn't care about him, um Khalil still loves her and protects her. Like everything relates back to our theme family.
yeah. I think it's like people don't realize these things. Like Khalil, you have to think about their situation. Like, the reason Khalil was a drug dealer was because he's trying to provide for his family, and like that's why you can't judge people. Like, when you walk up, you're like, oh, this guy's doing this bad thing. Like, he had a legitimate reason. Like, he
Yeah,
needed to provide, so you can't judge people or have these like set thoughts about them based on something, you know?
yeah, without hearing their story.
Exactly. Yeah, I think
Alright.
we covered all the themes, and so I think we're done here. I think this has been pretty
Yeah,
solid.
yeah, it's been a good podcast, good to talk about, and I think that's all of it.
Yeah, I feel like people should have these
Yeah,
all right, well, I think that wraps it up. I just want to thank all of you for coming, listening to our podcast. I hope you learned something from it, and yeah, that's all for me today. Akshay, you want to say
yeah,
bye?
bye.
All right, everyone, have a good day. Peace.